Hello, welcome back to the A Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ameer Hamid. Joining me today will be Brant and Mauro.
Hey there.
And Mauro Cesario.
Hey, how are ya? I love you had it in sync with me. That was great.
How have you guys been? It's been a crazy week.
I've been lighter.
Yeah.
Took a bit of hair off my head.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I did the same on my face.
You got more. Brant's got more in his face than he does in his head.
You might be right. Just pure square footage. I think you're right.
I think so. All right. So we got to start with the unfortunate news of Kobe Bryant's passing. I think I'm just going to start with my story and basically how I found out.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know Saturday was a big game. The fact that LeBron was going to be passing Kobe in the all-time scoring leaders list. So we were all over at my aunt's house for her birthday, and my whole family, we're all watching the game because we're not going to watch the All-Star game, the NHL All-Star game, because it's garbage. So we're all watching it and hearing about it. We go our separate ways, and then the next morning, I'm just on the couch looking at my phone, and I see you know how Twitter has those like fan NBA accounts, or where it'll be NBA Central, So one of them was just man, this Kobe news better not be real. And then I see 3 minutes ago what TMZ had reported, and I'm just holy shit, there's no way. And then I told my dad, and my dad's like, get out of here. You're bullshitting me, basically. And then for the next 8 hours, we're just on the couch, just watching the news come in. And I go over to my grandparents' house, and my grandma was stunned because she's like, we were just talking about him last night and all this stuff. And it's crazy how the world is in some ways, you know?
It's wild because his 81 point, the anniversary of his 81 point performance was not that long ago, and I remember seeing commercials that commercial he had with Jalen Rose, where he was asking for 81 olives or whatever it was, and that whole joke that went off. I literally just watched that not even a week before he died, and it's just it's crazy how quickly life hits you. But that was got to be the worst reported thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was awful,
start to finish. It's I understand you're trying to be first, but you got to get some facts straight before you start throwing things out. And it was it went from what? It was I wasn't even sure if he was dead at first.
So it went from 5 people are dead.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, well, that would be his whole family that could be with him. And then they're like, well, Rick Fox is with him and he's dead. Yeah. So I'm like, well, then that means that it wasn't his whole family if we're counting that many people. So it was just an entire shit show. And then 4 hours later, you realize, oh my God, it's 9 people.
Yeah.
And then
how do you go from 5 people to 9? And it's just embarrassing for some of these places. If I'm TMZ, I'm embarrassed right now because the way they handled that whole thing, it was Vanessa Bryant didn't even know until TMZ reported it.
Yeah, that's
the fact that they had to find out through TMZ. I don't give a shit if you got this information. I don't care where you got it from. Find out if she knows first. Don't come to me with that and be like, oh, we needed to report it. No, don't give me that bullshit. That's brutal. No one wants to find out that way, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Rick Fox was on TV yesterday, with the Inside the NBA guys, and he's just one of my daughters, her biggest fear is finding out her parents have died through the media.
Yeah.
And not from a family member. So she was inconsolable because and Rick Fox is just he's going through what Kobe, the Kobe news, and also the fact that it's being reported everywhere that he's dead. I'm not dead. That's the weirdest story.
He doesn't have Twitter either, right? He was off social media for the most, because I remember seeing someone who's I talked to Rick Fox 10 minutes ago. He wanted me to tell you that he's not dead, he's fine.
No, brutal. For me it was really awkward because I was in the same boat as Ameer. The night before, I was actually watching the Laker game against the 76ers, and he goes and he passes LeBron passes Kobe, and it's wow, this is pretty big. He's up into 3rd now, and they're talking about Kobe the entire time, right? And then the next day, whatever, I was on the couch, I was watching the Juventus game, I was watching soccer, and all of a sudden my cousin posts in the chat, he's like, yo, Kobe's dead. We're like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, Kobe's dead. He's like, and we're all like, what are you talking about? He's like, and then he posts the tweet. It's TMZ, and to Brant's point, it's like that's the worst kind of way to find out. Like before anybody realizes, before anybody in the family or anybody close to him is informed, like everybody's learning this from the first time, like from
TMZ of all places.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like when TMZ tweets that stuff, I do kind of like believe it more than.
But that's the problem. It's from them.
I don't like the fact that they did it before the family.
Yeah, exactly.
Knew.
I don't like. I look at them and I'm like, it obviously was true. So I mean, we should have believed it from the start. But they're just one of those things. It's like it's been such gossip based and rumors and this and that. It's just one of those things. I'm like, man, I can't take your word for this. I'm like, I don't know why you're even the first one to report, because it just makes you look bad at that point if you fuck anything up.
No, but even ABC went out and said, oh, well, all of his daughters are multiple. Yeah. Like it just so much stuff was filtering through where it's like this could have happened. Rick Fox could have happened. Like it was just a complete colossal.
Just get the media release before you release all that.
Exactly.
Man. You don't need to be the first one on this. Like nobody gives a shit who reported it.
I just think it should have been from like a reputable news source and like in the way that it was done. So basically I see that TMZ tweet and I'm like, okay, let me put on ESPN. So then I start streaming ESPN and ESPN showing the Pro Bowl. So, and I'm like, and then they finally interrupted with an ABC like breaking news thing. Yeah. That Kobe's dead. And I was just, and then ESPN too, they do like 4.5 hours of straight, like off the cuff news coverage about the death without taking commercial breaks and stuff. And I just thought that was crazy.
Yeah. The one thing I was kind of shocked a little bit on, it was like anytime something big in the sports world happens, I wait for like the Sportsnet and TSN notification because that's what I get in my phone, right? And I was kind of keep refreshing my page and keep refreshing my Twitter page, and Sportsnet tweets out, and they tweeted like promo for the Raptors game. As this is all going on, I'm like, this is not the time to be tweeting about something else basketball related. And like, I understand like you've got it scheduled to go off, but like that's one where you got to like take the second, go in, unschedule it, and be like, okay, let's take a seat for a second. Because it was, 20 minutes after Kobe died, or it was first reported, and they're already tweeting basketball stuff. I'm like, read the room, boys. That was rough. But
yeah, it's a tough thing. But like, you see how the NBA is like reacted over the past couple. I think the way that Kobe died was just like, it's the worst. Like the entire story. Like I don't think in our lifetime we haven't seen anything this tragic. Like,
like the Roy Halladay thing.
The Roy Halladay was the one comparable one.
But this was him flying a plane that like he's not trained and like he was under the influence from what I remember.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's like, okay, like you can put those together. This is just such like a freak, like in the fog. Nobody even knows what happened yet. Like it's
and no offense to Roy Halladay, but
he's not.
We're talking about different levels of athletes.
This is a top 10 NBA player of all time.
Yeah. And the fact that he died in the way that he did, he died with his daughter, and like it hit so hard because you saw Kobe in the last like year. You saw him on the sideline. Like I can't remember if I mentioned on this or I was talking to people, but like you saw a couple of weeks ago, him and his daughter were sitting courtside watching Luka play, and Kobe's behind, and Doncic is inbounding the ball, and Kobe starts talking to Doncic in Slovenian. Yeah. And Doncic is like, what? Because Kobe grew up in Spain, and the fact that it's like a melting pot over there. He's somehow picked up the language and stuff, and like Doncic was touched by this and the fact that like he could do this, and just seeing like how Kobe was such a role model for championing women's sports. I think like we lost a great one from that perspective. Also, the fact that like he was one of the people that made the WNBA cool in a way, and like you're allowed to be like that. And hearing the story of like Kobe when he went on Jimmy Kimmel, and he would always be asked, "Oh, Kobe, you got to have a boy," and the one that had died with him, Gianna, was with him, and she'd always be like, "Oh no, I got this." Like about carrying on the legacy name, and I was just like, it just hurt because you knew that they had a special bond, and I guess like it's poetic in a way that like they died together. You know what I mean? Like it's all
TNT did a really good job.
It was incredible
with everyone they brought on. The Steve Nash's stories were really good. Dwayne Wade talking about how they were in the gym together and doing all that. Like just like the respect he earned from like these guys are Hall of Famers that are talking about him, and it was just really good. And then you get the Shaq, like the whole Shaq thing, and like
that one hurt.
That broke my heart, man. Like it's just listening to him talk about it. I'm like, you know what? It's cool. I mean, Kobe didn't mean as much to me, obviously, because I wasn't much of a basketball fan. I understand his reach around the world, incredible athlete, but like to see someone like that who like they spent their first part of their career together, and he watched Kobe grow, and they had the feud that they had, and like they were trying to squash things.
It's sometimes like you don't need words, don't need to be said. Like you guys know how you feel, and I mean, like going back to your point, like even though you weren't a basketball fan, I think everyone recognizes what a cultural figure that Kobe was.
Yeah,
and me and Brant were kind of debating this via text, and I'm like, because the US media is involved so much in portraying like what's popular, I don't know if there's like as big of a death that could have happened like to any other athlete because of how big the NBA is and the way that it happened, like, and the fact that it's in LA. Like
I think it's easier my only argument against is that I think it's easier to say it now because it just happened and all that, but like if this would have been like there's a number of guys you could say in any sport that if this happened to right now, it'd be the same feeling. But this is just like it's recency bias to a sense that's like it just happened, and you're like, you know what, look at what's going on here. The one thing I bring it back to, and it's kind of funny, is the Muhammad Ali stuff. Because Muhammad Ali, I thought was dead, to be honest, for a long time, because the guy looked like he was going to go in like 10 minutes, 10 years before he did. And so he passes away, and they had television specials running on him for like 4 straight days, and that was the only thing you heard about. So I'm like, I kind of compare it to that in the sense that like he's getting the same type of coverage, but it's just one of those things that when a legend goes down, man, it's just it hits everybody. And it was the same thing. Like you expected it with Muhammad Ali, and he got that. You didn't expect this at all, and it's kind of the same reaction.
I think Muhammad Ali is like the one other athlete that like you could say that just because of what he did. Like socially as well as like his athletic achievements, but like it's just so bizarre, this entire story, like how it unfolded.
Like some of the reactions are like just the pure genuine reactions, like completely raw from people. Like the one that hurt me the most seeing was Shaq. Like he broke down. Like
it was
even Doc Rivers,
beautiful
like,
though in a way.
Exactly, Doc Rivers. It nearly brought me to tears. Like like he never coached him, right? Like they were always the
but he coached against them all the time.
He always coached against them in those Celtics versus Lakers, right? Like, and it's hard to watch, but I mean,
and that's the thing. Like the thing about Kobe, I say this in the most like poetic way. He was such a motherfucker out there on the court. That's what like my two favorite players.
Was it Matt Barnes that threw the ball like in his face about here?
And, like he wasn't afraid of anything and anyone. So like when you hear that he died, it's like, oh, Kobe didn't die in that way. Like if there was any guy like that helicopter's going down and somehow he gets out of it, like
he just jumped and fucking floated down.
He lived, like he's Chuck Norris and stuff. And that like that's just the type of guy that Kobe was. And like my two favorite basketball players ever were Shaq and LeBron. And like the thing is, when you look at both of them, that you can't learn from them is like the Kobe Mamba mentality. Like I never got to see Michael Jordan, so I don't know like how intense he was. I like everything that I've heard is that, you know, him and Kobe both had that same mentality. And I think like you see all these NBA players and their tributes and stuff. I think they take a kin from that because you want to earn the respect from that guy that had that type of mentality, that killer instinct. And that like Kobe didn't, there was that clip, I think it was on Kimmel again, when they had Swaggy P, Jordan Hill, and Jeremy Lin, and like they were all just going on while Kobe was out for the year with an Achilles, and they were like just making fun. And then Kimmel asked him, would that be going on if you were there? And he just like stone face looks at him like he disgusted that they're celebrating like a loss when they've lost, like they've won a game and they've lost like every game basically that season. Like he was just the ultimate competitor.
I don't want to bring it up because it's a little ridiculous, but like the whole people going on about his sexual harassment stuff. Like the one thing, like I'm not here to tell anyone how they should and shouldn't think, but like this was nearly 20 years ago. If you're seriously mad at this guy still, take a look at yourself 20 years ago and tell me you're the same person. Like, it's a joke if you're still like, I understand if you're a victim of sexual assault, sure. But like, if you're not, and you're still looking at this guy like he's a villain, like, you can't tell me someone hasn't changed in the past 20 years and you can't see the growth in Kobe Bryant. Like, and also, if you're still going on about that at this point, it's more of a you problem than it is his problem to me.
Yeah. And also, like, the fact that the victim in this in that scenario felt vindicated enough to take a settlement can make me feel okay with the result of the legal system in that scenario, right? If she wasn't, then take it to the full extent, like punish it, but that didn't happen. You know what I mean? So like, why am I going to harp on, like, is it a black eye on his
clearly
career? Sure. Like it needs to be said in the story of Kobe, but I think everything that you've seen in the last 20 years, like, can make you realize he's tried to be a better person and like he's grown as a person. So
the one thing for me was just people that are tweeting it like, oh, you can't forget that he did this. It's like, Kate, where were you where were you last week? Like, don't bring this up now when Kobe's died and people want to grieve about the guy.
Exactly.
Like, I don't have to look at him as what you look at him as. I don't see him as a villain. It was 20 years ago, man. Like, it's in the past. He's not that man. Like, it's 20 years. It's such a long time. We've had like 4 presidents in that amount of time. Like, brutal.
For me, it's like it's a moment of complete sadness. People are in a state of grievance. Like, there's a lot of remorse going on. Like, why is that the focal point? I don't agree with it. Like, obviously, it's something that happened. It's a matter of reality that
there's a lot of
there.
people.
It's part of his legacy in whatever capacity you want to call it and shape it in his career. It happened, but in this, small period of time that we've now heard about the news until then, like, people bringing that up, I mean, I disagree with it. But again, like, to Brant's point, I'm not going to tell people how to think.
You know what?
In the grand scheme of things, like, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's a lot other things he did, within the last 20 years that, made people like me, like, I don't think
like Kobe, like, it's crazy.
Like,
you've seen like some of the redemption tours of athletes. Like, I think A-Rod flipped the script on like everyone of he's this extremely likable guy. Kobe, Tiger Woods now, like with his redemption, like you've just seen these athletes, like, just because they have,
you can do awful things and
turn it around.
The one thing I laughed, like, legitimately laughed at, was there was someone that tweeted out, and they were pissed off because his whole net worth is going to go to a non-black person, and she thought that it should just be going to some black person. It should just carry on through the affirmation. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? These people have been together, like, what is it, 30 years now?
She was 18, he was 21. Yeah,
like, you've got to be kidding me.
I think that's just like,
you're just looking for attention with that one. I'm like, stop. This is not the time or even a legitimate argument at that point. That's ridiculous. Like, that.
So yesterday, the league obviously cancels the game between the Lakers and Clippers, and I understand it.
I think it's fucking stupid, because I think if you get through those other 2 days of games and then you're just going to cancel the Lakers,
I think it's different because it's the Laker organization.
Out of respect to the management and owners,
I get it.
Had a direct correlation to him.
Like, it's so the GM of the Lakers, Rob Pelinka, he was Kobe's agent for like 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's just, to me, man, like,
here's the thing. While I really wanted the game to be played, because so basically they're going to return Friday to playing, I assume it's going to be against Portland, and it's not going to be as meaningful to me as a Lakers Clippers, but you can argue to me the exact other side of the coin. It's like, well, you rather.
His mic just cut.
I was going to say, you went muted for a sec. That was a good point, though. Yeah, you're right.
Whoops.
What were you saying? You could argue something meaningful. Oh, you're still fixing this? Okay. Oh, all right. Well, we lost Ameer then. No, I kind of see what he's saying. I mean,
yeah, I mean, out of the respect for the team, like I could see why, because like you said, there's a correlation between, the GM who was his former agent and Kobe Bryant, right? Like there's definitely personnel that have been there since he last played.
You guys can keep going.
We are going.
We are, yeah. I was just saying, like, out of respect to the management and people and personnel staff that have been there since Kobe's time, like I could see why they would cancel it. Like obviously, players playing now were definitely former teammates of his, so I don't think they'd want to play. Yeah, you're good.
The thing for me was just like you didn't cancel
the other games,
anything else, and you see guys like Tyson Chandler on the bench where like he's in tears, like does not want to be there whatsoever. And like you force these guys to go into these games. A lot of these guys played with Kobe Bryant, or like were in battles with Kobe Bryant in their career. It's not like, to me, there's not a lot of Lakers that played with or against Kobe Bryant because they're a fairly young team outside of a handful of guys. So to me, it's just like there's just as much reason to cancel every other game than there was the Laker game, and I'm like, why is that the choice you make?
But I think it's more for the organization. It's also for the fan base.
Sure.
I think it's a big time for the fan base.
Yeah,
because like you saw the amount of people that were outside there.
Yeah, did you hear the what was it, the Oscars told people not to crowd around because they're holding Oscars? It's like, dude,
get out of here. Who
like,
are
you kidding me?
Yeah,
like have some awareness of what's going on. Like this is the biggest. No one gives a shit about the Oscars right now. You're better off rescheduling because no one's gonna watch.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys see this on Twitter, but basically, Ovi changed his number for warm up today from 8 to 24.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What do you guys think about the players that are changing their numbers away from 8 and 24 and the idea of like retiring the number league wide, the thoughts of changing the NBA logo? Like, I think it's dumb to change the logo to Kobe, in my personal opinion.
I don't hate. See, the thing that's bothered me with Kobe is like, which number do you retire? Like, I hate retiring both.
I agree.
Yeah.
But like, what was he? Like, he was equal numbers on 8 and 24. Like there's no point we could say, oh, he was more 24.
Like I remember him as 24.
Me too, but I think
I remember him as 24 as well.
Right? Like he was kind of 8 before we were like relevant in a sense.
Yeah, like 8 is Froby, and then 28 is 24 is Bald Kobe. Like
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, but he won championships with 8, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like it's just tough for me to say let's retire both numbers. And you can't really retire one. I kind of like that the players are doing it out of respect, like because a lot of these guys are just like, no, he meant too much to me. I'm not going to wear his number.
Yeah, I don't think that guys should be forced to change it away from it.
No.
But at the same time, like I don't see how you fault a guy for continuing to wear it also, because like if they did it because it's just their number, then let them be.
Yeah.
And also like if they're doing it because of Kobe, like, let them wear it because it's a respect thing also. Like
if you wore that number out of respect for Kobe right from the beginning, then why stop now?
Yeah.
Like
and where do you like set the precedent? Right? Like we're all gonna retire 23? Are we all gonna retire like Larry Bird's 33?
I think 23 should be retired when LeBron.
But then it's like
you've got Jordan and LeBron. It's like that's enough. We don't need any more 23s. This is our game. These are the legends of our game.
But then it's fucked up because like LeBron kind of ruined it where he didn't have his own number because look, by the time things are said and done, it's kind of rough the fact that like you can't really differentiate the number in a way. It's just gonna be brutal from that standpoint. This thing like showed me I kind of want to hammer the Lakers to win the title.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, I would like to see them win it now. I think
I would also like. What kind of world are we living in that we want the Lakers to win?
I don't know. It's like wanting the Yankees to win. This has never happened.
Exactly. Like if Jeter died in this kind of fashion, like
I don't know if I'd want the Yankees to win.
Exactly.
Like, I feel so bad, but I still hope you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, like okay. If you use like Jeter might be a pretty good comparison, but baseball's not as big as basketball.
It was in Jeter's time.
But it's not now.
In terms of global outreach, I don't think anybody could match the NBA.
No. Yeah.
Right.
So me and Brant were like trying to compare this, and it's awful that we're kind of talking about this in it like, but we're using it from this. We're talking about this from like a sports standpoint of how big like a certain sport is. So like, I brought up soccer because of how big it's like the international sport.
Yeah.
So we brought up your boy Cristiano, and we were like, it'd be a big story in Portugal and Real Madrid.
No, I think it'd be bigger than Kobe.
I don't know if it would be big.
I think it would be
much bigger across Europe.
Dude, nobody has more followers on Instagram than Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's literally the biggest superstar.
He's the poster boy for like everything.
I understand. But if we're using like the US media, because like we understand how much influence it has.
If that's gonna dictates it, like the US media has a heavy influence.
ESPN isn't doing a special like on Ronaldo like this.
Correct.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But
they might be, dude.
No, I'm with Ameer in the sense that it's all dependent on the US media.
To me, there's a lot more people in North America that if you would have went up to and asked like if they knew either one of them, I feel like they know Ronaldo first.
Correct.
Because to me, it's just like he's a pop culture icon on top of being a sports icon, whereas Kobe really wasn't.
Okay, but Kobe has more fans in China. No, I
don't know. They're all dead.
I think so.
I don't think so, man.
He was the first guy to embrace that. That was brought up a lot. That he was the first guy to like embrace China and like the fact that like his shoe did so well there and all this.
All the people that were adults when Kobe was playing in China, they all have coronavirus now anyway. So it's
jeez, he went there.
Whoa, Jesus!
I don't know, man. I think Ronaldo just has more reach here because he's just been such a pop culture icon and but
he's never played here. That's my thing. That's my thing.
That's fine. In 5 years when he retires and comes to the MLS like everybody else does, then he can have a little bit of the fame here too. That'd be fun.
My thing is
like an argument standpoint.
I mean, I think
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No,
I know, but I'm just saying, like the U.S. media it has the heavy influence on it, right? Like, definitely in terms of who would gain more attention here, Kobe Bryant would. But I think in terms of global outreach, I think Cristiano's the bigger name.
Sure,
agreed.
That's not to say one's impact is going to be bigger than the other when they die. No, I'm not trying to say that at all.
Like there's a long list of guys that have, or a short list of guys, that have a name that you're like, this is going to happen for all of them. And they're both on it, and they're both probably near the top.
We're really just discussing this because of like how big of a deal like this just doesn't happen. Where these one of these absolute superstars,
but that's the thing,
they don't
right?
really live a full life. Like it's
how many times can you say that a major player, like a top 3, top 5 in one certain sport, dies at such a young age?
Like the last, like in sports, the last one, like
there was a really good one that got brought up was Jose Fernandez. He was literally almost half as young as Kobe.
Yeah, like that one.
That was that one hurt. That one hit me, man, because like Fernandez, I believe was he a year older than us?
22.
He was like 22 or 23.
Like he was almost our age when it happened, basically. And I'm like,
but it doesn't have the it's.
I still don't think it has the impact.
No, obviously not. But this is a kid that was in his 3rd year in the major.
No, I agree. But like,
this is a guy that, to me, if he's still alive today, he's winning Cy Youngs like it's nothing, because that guy was dominant.
What 21. I was gonna say, like, it's the most shocking sports moment since Magic Johnson announced like HIV, that he had HIV.
Yeah,
like
you get the Junior Seaus where that was like holy shit, but that wasn't like, it didn't hit a ton of people. Like I didn't even really know who Junior Seau was at the time. Aaron Hernandez is a big one.
That's a good one actually.
Because that's like you'd never see.
That was just bonkers. Like that, the entire story was just like there was a fold that like it just kept. There was layer after layer after layer.
Jesus, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nuts.
But like it's just an awful situation as a whole. There's so much that like more that we could say about it. Like I thought the Raptors did a really good job last night.
Yeah.
Like they had a whole video for him. The 24 second.
I was gonna say that the 24 and the 8 was smart too when Trae Young
and then
did.
They had, and then
And
when it was counting down from 24, it highlighted at 8 and 2 because his daughter's number was 2. So I thought it was neat. And then when Atlanta got to 81 points last night, they put the number in all purple.
Yeah.
So like it was just
I like Philly doing the 33 seconds of silence because he wore 33 at Lower Merion
High School. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing that's been brought up. Kobe's been in people's lives since he was 17 years old, and like LeBron's been in people's lives since they were 16. Like the fact that this is the first Kobe lived through social media. And it's the first one that like you've literally seen grow up, and you saw like I don't know if you saw Ellie Duncan from ESPN and how she did her she did her thing on how the first time she met Kobe, and basically
that was the girl's dad thing, right?
Yeah, the girl dad, and it was beautiful. Like I've
heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it was a tearjerker. And you see all these athletes now and just people tweeting out hashtag girl dad with a picture of their daughters. Like, it melts your heart, man.
Like, just to the point of the outreach, like, it's pretty crazy. Like, they don't want to do the memorial in Staples Center. Like, they want to have it held in LA Coliseum, like 80,000 people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it just goes to show, like, there's not many bigger names in terms of how big an impact and effect it has on one city. Like it's a crazy story.
It's gonna be a sight to see because like who knows like when they're holding that and stuff like that. And like a big part of there was that New York Post story today that's like, oh, Vanessa's like distraught and stuff. I'm like, no shit. The fact that like
not even her husband, her 13-year-old daughter just died.
Yeah.
Like forget like the husband, it happens. Like 13-year-olds don't die.
Yeah.
2 out of the 4 other people in her household are gone.
And listen, like
how is she not going to be distraught? Like
you got to think of like there won't be any like mourning process. What's the other thing? Like when someone dies, like a way to like there's no closure because like I don't know how much of their bodies are left because it's a crash. Like there was a fire. Like I don't know. Like you can't just like look at them. You know when like there's always like a casket, it's open. Like I don't think like in this situation
you're not having an open casket for either.
Could you imagine like you can't like forget even Kobe. You can't tell your daughter like your last words. Like there's no bit of closure whatsoever in that. I think that's just awful. Like it's brutal.
Yeah.
Should we move on to better things?
Yeah.
I mean, Brant's tried to pick a fight with like China right here.
I don't pick fights with China. I think that
how could they sully the name of Corona?
I think people are worked up too much about it. I just think like it's not that big a deal.
My brother went downtown today, and I was just like, "Oh, I'll kill you if you bring."
Yeah, but like the thing is like if it hits us, it doesn't really matter. Like we'll beat it. It's fine. It's just like it only affects people that are like old or newborns or have like deficient what do you call it? Immune
deficiencies.
Like if your immune system's not where it should be right now, then it's probably going to hurt you a bit. Like that's the only thing that's the only people that it's killing, right? Is like the older people. So I'm like, maybe let's just relax. But who knows?
Yeah. I'm knock on wood.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I don't want it in my household because it's not
agreed.
Yeah.
Rather not have to deal with something like that. All right.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 54. We never talked about the results from conference championship weekend, but we all know that it's going to be it's going to be the San Francisco 49ers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Conference weekend was a little disappointing. We got basically one half of good football, and then that's it. So
for which
that
game?
Kind of
neither game were very good.
Kansas City, Tennessee was good in the first half, and then everything else was just then that game dropped off, and like from the first snap, basically in the 49ers game, they just dominated.
Yeah.
And Green Bay came back to get I think they ended up covering the game, or they were at least close to.
Yeah.
Somehow, but I stopped watching.
Yeah. I think I stopped in the second. Like
I stopped watching the San Fran game, but I was on edge the entire KC versus Tennessee game
until like the third quarter, and
until the third quarter, right? Like
you realize that
Brian Tannehill wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, and Pat Mahomes is just a monster.
Yeah. So what's you guys' early thoughts about this game? Like, is there a way that you're like, what's the key matchups that you're looking at? Is there a way that you're leaning? What's your thoughts?
Me, first thing I look at is it's not what you might think. It's the Kansas City defense versus the run game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
it's huge.
Yeah.
What 220 yards for Raheem Mostert last week, and like you can probably safely say that's the only reason they won that game for the most part. Like,
well, like, you don't know. Like, if Mostert doesn't have that, Jimmy G throws more than 8 times. Then.
Sure, you lose Tevin Coleman in the first too, though, and it's like your only run option left. I mean, they have Matt Breida, but he wasn't doing anything.
I think that they just have 3 average running backs.
Yep.
Like, I wouldn't say Mostert's more than anything really more than that.
Mostert's like 17 or something.
They're all average running backs.
Mostert's the most dynamic one of them.
Yeah.
That's what I would definitely say.
There, to me, it's 3 average running backs, but when you piece it together and you have them mixed up like that, like, there's not any better running attacks than when you have a full tandem of 3 guys that can all hit you in different ways.
Yep.
Right.
The thing I see is, like, whether or not Kansas City shuts down that run game, it's like Jimmy G can sling it when he wants to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's so much as Kansas City's defense being able to stop that offense. I think that Kansas City offense needs to learn how to beat that defense.
It's totally different than looking at the Tennessee game, right? Because in the Tennessee game, you're just like, okay, let's stop Derrick Henry. And they didn't do that in the first half, but in the second half, they did.
He was invisible.
Because they just didn't Derrick Henry couldn't get going because Ryan Tannehill couldn't throw, right? And like vice versa, you kind of know what I mean?
Yep.
So their offense could never get going. But you look at this 49ers defense, the Kansas City defense going up against the 49ers offense, and you're like, well, what aspect do we kind of take away? Because there's no specific running style that the 49ers have. Like, they can go power run with Tevin Coleman, but is he out for the game or what? So they can go out. Breida's kind of can do both, and Mostert's a scat back kind of. So like there's different running elements opposed to what Tennessee had. And like the Kansas City Chiefs defense isn't elite, but it's good. I don't understand why Frank Clark was running his mouth last time when he's like, "Oh, I shut Derrick Henry down and stuff." I'm just like, "You are a designated pass rusher. What are you talking about?" So I thought that was bizarre, and he's still running his mouth. But like, also one of the wildest things that happened over the last like 10 years, and Richard Sherman's going to the Hall of Fame, but the fact that he doesn't really like shadow receivers is one of the more bizarre things. Like, it's like
Darrell Revis
were going at it. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah. They both made really good points, but it was
he called them out because he doesn't go on to the other side. He only
he doesn't cover the best receiver.
Covers.
Yeah. So I'm not really concerned with the 49ers defense and the Kansas City offense, because I think they're good. Yeah. It's good against good.
Mahomes makes shit happen.
Exactly. And I think that things are going to happen regardless. Like, 49ers are going to make big plays on defense, but I also think that Pat Mahomes is still going to score. Like, it's whether or not Jimmy G you can basically spot Kansas City 28 points. Like, I think it's whether or not that
defense is good.
I still think Mahomes can put up 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm giving them 21. Do I see them getting another one throughout the span of the game? Possibly.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is going to be an incredible game.
It's going to be a great game, in my opinion. Yeah.
Like, it just looks like one of the better matchups we've seen in a while.
But I could also could you not see like a scenario? Like, I'm just thinking it out right now that
where it's Jimmy G running the helm, and it's probably not going to be very good.
The Chiefs get the ball. And then the 49ers shut them down in the first possession. The 49ers get good field position, and then the 49ers are just controlling the game
just run the clock, man.
Exactly. Yeah. They just control. They score. They get a touchdown, go up 7-0, and then they get off of a good start, and then they just run with it from there. I can absolutely see that.
Which hasn't really bothered Mahomes, right?
Pat Mahomes just plays from behind. Could it be like the Houston game, and he comes back like that?
Yeah.
Possibly, but also like I could also think that like the 49ers defense could just make plays all the time and just it's not a game.
It's a lot harder to come back against the Niners defense than it is the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Let's rank. I like doing this. What's most likely in terms of blowout or close game from each of the perspectives? Like Kansas City blowout, San Francisco blowout, San Francisco close, Kansas City close.
I think a San Francisco blowout is real possible. Like, I don't know.
Is it more possible than Kansas City blowout?
Honestly, I think so. Just because I think that defense is so good that
this could be like the Seattle Denver Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like you remember it? Like
where everyone thought Denver was just gonna walk away, and Seattle's
It was the year that was the historic offense, right?
Yeah.
We're beating through 50-something touchdowns. And you set the record. Like, I think that's a fair possibility that could actually happen.
Because Jimmy G is not Pat Mahomes, but Russell Wilson also wasn't Peyton Manning, right? Like, it's the same situation. Mm-hmm. Jimmy G can also throw. And their running backs, they just have so many of them that one of them are probably going to have a good game if you give them a chance.
It's like, I still don't believe in the 49ers offense.
I know, but I don't understand why not.
Outside of Kittle, and Kittle, like...
Kittle did nothing last game.
He was more in the...
because he doesn't have to.
That's the crazy thing. I'm just like, why don't they? Because if they did, I trust them so much more. Mm-hmm. Because outside of Kittle, who's the elite option on that offense?
No one.
No one right now.
The best one and the next best one in my is in terms of the receiving is probably Debo.
Debo can go for like that 70-yard. You're like reverse play, and you're like, what the hell happened? But you don't trust that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
what's their fullback? Is it Juszczyk?
Kyle Juszczyk. Yeah. Good fullback. Well,
and now we lost Brant.
Yeah,
which means I'm next. Uh-oh.
I know.
He's picked a good time to freeze out there.
There you go.
No, I think Juszczyk's a good receiving fullback, which like he's a weapon. They just have all these
fullback.
They have all these good weapons, but they don't.
None are great. Emmanuel good. No. Debo good.
But there's no one that's bad. That's the other side of it. Is like they don't have someone that's like, please don't throw to him.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like, all it takes for me is one stop for the Chiefs. One stop for this of the Kansas City offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They get into good field position. They make an early score, and then Mahomes has to start slinging it. Like, I could see it just being a run fest from the 49ers where they do the exact same thing. They're running the ball. They've established the run to the point where it's going to be insurmountable. Like, that's the one thing, like, to the point of where I rank it, I can either see it being before anything else, Kansas City and or San Fran close game, and then San Fran blowout. I don't see Kansas City blowing out San Fran.
I agree.
Because I'm thinking through all this in my head right now because I really haven't thought about the game that much with like the Kobe news and just following college football recruiting because signing day is coming up. But like just thinking about it, if Kansas City's offense, the way that they have to attack them is by the screen game to get rid of that the rushing that the pass rushing that San Francisco can do, because then you get the O lineman slow and like, would you not take all take out Kittle? Would you not take all 4 receivers on Kansas City before anyone on San Francisco? And I'll go through them. Tyreek Hill, yes.
Obviously.
Kelsey, yes.
Yeah.
Mecole Hardman or Deebo Samuel?
I like Deebo Samuel. He looked really good last week.
I mean, I'd rather have Emmanuel Sanders though.
Yeah.
Just because he's a steady guy.
Been there, done that too.
I never liked Sammy Watkins.
Neither do I, but like he could also just burn you for
times where he blows up for some yards.
Yeah, Kansas City has 3 receivers that can just burn you for. Kansas City has 3 receivers that can burn you for 50 yards, and like I think you just run screen passes for Hill, Hardman, and just watch them fly.
Even Damian Williams out of the backfield, like,
and that's the thing. Why did he lose his job? Basically. You know what I mean? Like, he got hurt and he just was never their running back ever since.
I mean, even like Mahomes, you saw it against the Titans, like the 30-yard run. Like, he's going to have to use his feet this game.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be okay with that because we've seen he can do it and he's a mobile quarterback. I don't think there's any questions about his knee or his leg after what happened during the season. Like, he's shown he's mobile and that he's healthy.
Yep.
Like, I think it's going to be a good matchup.
But I don't think you can. I don't think that you can game plan for Mahomes to do those extending plays.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if they'll be there. You know what I mean? Because of the pass rushing that San Francisco has, I think that's just really tough if you're going to rely on that from Mahomes. Like, I'd want quick game, run to the line of scrimmage, never let those pass rushers get comfortable.
Quick slants, screens,
just because you get those linebackers. Because like, if you're ranking the units on the field, like DBs, linebackers, and D line, it goes D line, linebackers, DBs. Like, in terms of who you're trying to avoid on the 49ers. So like, you want to get that front moving for San Francisco, get them tired, and then you can run those plays, those long play action plays that like it gets the defense out of sorts. All right, what's you guys' predictions about the game?
Score and winner.
Oh, I don't even have a score, but you guys go.
San Francisco 28-17.
I'm ride or die with Pat Mahomes, so I'm taking the Chiefs. But in terms of the score, I don't know, 31-24.
I like 31. I'm gonna go 34 now. Then. Yeah, I'm gonna go 34.
I'm gonna log this just so I have it on my phone, so I could look back at this and say, "Wow."
You want to put mine in there too, so I don't forget?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have.
Let me check with the.
Hold on.
Oh, the over. I was gonna go 34, but now I'm definitely not because the over under is only 54.
And what did I choose? I did 31-24, which is 55.
Ooh.
Wow.
I didn't even know that. Look at me. 31-24 Chiefs is who I have it.
Let me look at the past Super Bowls. No, I just want to see
look at the Rams. Look at the Rams and Patriots. That's exactly really good high scoring.
The Super Bowl is never really that high scoring game.
Sometimes. I think a lot, but last year was definitely not. Last year sucked. Easily the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
Brant, what was your score line?
I think I said 28-17. Niners.
Which is 45 points total.
So I'm taking the under.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way under.
I got 34, 31.
Is it like a game-winning field goal?
A last second field goal from either Robbie Gould or Harrison Butker.
Harrison Buckner.
Wow. Kansas City.
The Jolly Red Giant, formerly Jolly Green Giant, finally wins his first Super Bowl. Andy Reid. Let's go.
Andy Reid, nice guy.
I don't know. I might change my pick because I don't trust Andy Reid in big games, but who knows?
Made it here. Who knows, man?
I know. I do want to see him win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think
historic coach.
It's a better story if Kansas City wins, just because.
Well, they also haven't done it in 50 years, so yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on who's the MVP in your scenarios?
Jimmy
G.
Oh wow, you guys are really going at the first.
Okay. Well, I'll do one of each. Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Or
Nick Bosa.
No, George Kittle.
Yeah. I think Jimmy G is a more out there pick than Kittle or Bosa because like Jimmy G just won a game with 8 passes, so you're telling me he's going to step up and lead this team to a win now.
I'm gonna go more dark horse. Okay.
Quan Alexander,
Tyrann Mathieu at plus 10,000.
I was kind of thinking the same.
He's gonna get
a pick 6.
The Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu,
4 sacks.
Plus 10,000, and I'm looking. Mecole Hardman.
Okay, I'm not saying anything.
Punt return, kick return.
Okay.
It's
okay. Sure.
Crazier things have happened, man. It's a Super Bowl.
I'm not just gonna be like Pat Mahomes. Like, no shit, the fucking favorite. Come on.
Oh yeah. You asked who we thought.
I'm riding or dying with Pat Mahomes. I said it from the beginning.
Tyreek Hill.
Plus 1,400.
Sure.
Yeah,
what's Pat Mahomes?
All right. 100.
Like
he's even. He's even. Yeah.
What's Jimmy G?
250.
Oh.
Mostert plus 700.
Mostert would be a fun one.
Yeah.
What about Tevin Coleman?
What about Jeff Wilson Jr., the fourth back?
Kyle Juszczyk.
You know who's one for San Francisco that I like their odds? Fred Warner plus 12,500.
What's he? Is he linebacker or defensive back?
Linebacker. He's really good.
I'm done betting until I know against the MVP because I've got 4 cents left in my account.
$1 to win 126.
Sure.
Count me in.
Throw it. Why not?
Tyrann Mathieu, $1 to win 100. Like,
you might as well.
The Honey Badger.
Yeah,
just put $1 on everyone not named Mahomes and Garoppolo, and the odds are
and let it fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
So
why not?
Brant's taking the 49ers. Me and Mauro taking the Chiefs.
I have it logged.
We want to talk Leafs quickly.
I got nothing, but
you see the report that Elliot Freeman said that the Leafs are looking at Dumba.
Yeah, well, they should be, as they should be. I think you should be in on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you can. That's really hard to do because the cap situation is But why not?
Well,
someone
get hurt. Easy.
Captain and what?
Probably
Cap's hurt right now, isn't he? Is he playing tonight?
Oh, he's playing.
Okay.
Isn't he playing?
He left last game, but
gotcha. Let me look at it.
I think he's okay. I remember them saying something about his x-rays are negative and blah blah blah. But you'll be fine with the cap situation because someone else is going to get hurt before the end of the year. It's almost a guarantee at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, because Riley's going to come back, and when he comes back, it's probably in the playoffs, and there's no cap. Cabinet's healthy, so
yeah. Okay.
Also, Engvall's playing center now.
Which line? 4?
3rd. It's Engvall, Kapanen, and Janssen.
Oh, that's new.
Well, I think it's been that for the last.
Yanni was up for a bit.
Yeah.
What's line 2 then?
Kerfoot, Tavares.
Oh, Kerfoot?
Yeah. I think Kerfoot's a chip that you can like. I'd rather trade Kerfoot than Janssen.
I don't have as much attachment to Kerfoot as I do the other two.
And also, like, if he's not a center, like, I think that Janssen's a better player than Kerfoot. And has more value to other teams.
Yep.
Kerfoot has more value, and I'd rather trade him.
Yeah.
Jansen's also one of very few left wingers right now. Like, he's easily your
Kerfoot's left or center, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Jansen's I would say easily your best left winger because I don't put Hyman above him, but like Hyman's there too. I
think Kerfoot has more value. Like, you know how it's like internal value, like the front office values him more than other teams would. Like Bracco's definitely valued more by the Leafs than he is by the rest of the league. It's brutal. I think like me and Brant were talking about this, Mauro, and we're basically like Josh Manson would be the better fit this year because he's a defensive defenseman, but Dumba's better long term because he's got 3 years opposed to 2. And also, like, I don't think that Barry is necessarily out of the woods in terms of like, I think that they could explore trading him.
Everyone hates Barry, and I hate it.
But it's kind of true. I think it was Jeffy. I think
it's a Jake Gardner 2.0.
No. But it was I think it was Jeffy that's basically like Tyson Barrie is great because he plays like he's not a defenseman. Tyson Barrie is bad because he is a defenseman.
His defensive zone coverage is not good. It's fine. That's fine. He scores so many goddamn points, and he's such a quarterback of that power play, man. People keep ripping on him because he takes shots. It's like you need to put that in someone's head. Like if you're never shooting from the point, your goalie's just going side to side. It's easy. It's like pass goes over there, I'm going over here. Pass goes over there, I'm going over here.
And that's why I'm in favor of getting an extra defenseman and taking out like Freddie the Goat or something and just run 7D. Or anyone on the fourth line and run 7D.
Timashov even in the lineup anymore? Take out Trevor Moore. I don't really care about him. I love the Goat.
If the Goat is hitting, because right now Trevor Moore hits more than the Goat.
Yeah, I know. The GOAT doesn't hit. He just scores. Just clutch goals all the time. 2 minutes of ice time.
Exactly. Anything else on the Leafs?
Nah, I don't have much on them. Go Leafs. Stop being so pessimistic.
World. Oh, Sandin?
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, I love him. Doing
so good.
It sucks long term because like they probably shouldn't have played him, but it's the better for this team to play. Because like if you want to win this year, I think you need him, in my opinion, because he's really good. But it just sucks long term the fact that you have him now for 1 year less.
Oh well.
But also it's like,
you know what? That's future Kyle.
When time comes, like for future contract negotiations, it's like, yo, I didn't do you dirty and make you play another year for $900,000
with guys that you were clearly better than.
Yeah. So
I love it. He's gross. What a goal. Thanks, Nylander, for pushing the bar forward. Let it go bar down. Sweet.
The Hall of Fame results for baseball was in.
I love it. I love the fact that Jeter wasn't unanimous.
That was so stupid.
I love it. Man, if Ken Griffey Jr. is not unanimous, Derek Jeter doesn't deserve to be unanimous.
I don't know. Like it's one person though. Like that they want to do this
being an ass.
Exactly. So I think it's stupid. Like it's the same thing with I think it was Steph Curry. Was it LeBron? One or the other. They weren't unanimous by one person. I think it was LeBron.
Somebody's just trying to be a jackass.
I think Jeter is just a really good guy, and Yankees fans love him.
Professional.
Yeah, but really, he wasn't like that special.
But because of how the platform that he was on in New York, and also the success that he had in his career as a winner.
Yeah. Have you seen the comparisons between his numbers and Pete Walker or Larry Walker's numbers?
I understand.
Like his offensive numbers are identical.
Yeah.
But Larry Walker just trumps him defensively.
But how many World Series does Larry Walker have?
How many times did Larry Walker play for the Yankees? That's the thing with me is just like Jeter played for.
How many times did Derek Jeter get to play for Colorado? Like you think his numbers wouldn't be better?
No.
Okay.
No. It's a myth. No, because he wouldn't have played in the playoffs. So he gets all this time where he's got to come back into form. It's just different. No, it's just I think that helps Jeter too is the fact that he played on some stacked teams. Like they were gross in their heyday. Yeah. And he just happened to be one of the better. He was never the best player on those teams.
He wasn't the best shortstop on his team.
No, exactly. Yep. I stand by it. And I love that he didn't go in unanimously. Mostly because I hate the Yankees, partially because I think Griffey was better.
Well, that's it. I mean, Mariano got unanimous.
Yeah, but he's a different guy.
Oh. He's not a Yankee. He's a baseball player.
How do you argue? He is the best closer of all time. There is no
Jonathan Papelbon.
No more.
All right. In terms of like closers, I absolutely hate Papelbon, Craig Kimbrell.
Okay, I hate him more now.
The fucking like
I didn't hate that when he was dominating and he had no beard, but now he's got that weird ass beard.
Because he's a Red Sox
and he's not as good.
I've never understood the whole like him like. Doing the whole arm thing.
I did it too.
It's really weird.
It does absolutely nothing, but if it works, right?
Over the summer, we seen him at Wrigley Field. Like we went to go and watch a game. We were in Chicago, and he had a pretty crazy walk up. Like they had, I forget which song it was, but like electric throughout the stadium. And then he's doing this every single thing, and we're like, really? Like what's going on here?
Oh, dude,
I didn't know about the whole thing. Like he does the whole. Like,
he was intimidating as hell when he was with.
Do you guys know what his nickname is?
No.
From MLB.com. Dirty Craig.
Dirty Craig.
Craig.
I can see Dirty Craig. I don't know. He was in Atlanta. That guy was incredible. And then he went to Boston, grew a weird ass leprechaun beard, and just started falling off the map because he was just getting lit up. But no, nobody touches Mariano. K-Rod was fun in his prime.
K-Rod was fun. Chapman used to be fun.
Chapman was until his I'm not even gonna bring that up.
Chapman used to be fun because it's like 106. What? And
his girlfriend used to think he was fun too.
Hey, relax, buddy. You're I'm fired.
That was bad. Fuck that guy. Most team move ever though with what he did when he trade me to Chicago and comes back after the playoff run.
Oh, I knew God Glaber Torres.
Yeah, biggest team player I've ever seen.
Yikes.
Great guy. Not great guy. Great team player. Yep.
Alrighty. Is that it?
I got nothing left.
All right, let's go watch this Leafs game.
I agree.
All right, we'll see you guys next time post Super Bowl. Peace.